Doctors, what if you could make in a weekend what you would usually make in a week or a month or even more? Well, you can do that by having your own live events. Today, we're going to dive in what we've done in generating revenue for ourselves and our businesses through live events. My name is Dr. Mike Pume.
I'm Dr. Ann Trung, and welcome to the Dr. Boss YouTube channel and podcast. This is our series on ways to monetize your medical expertise. And this is something that I know that doctors are be very familiar with is an event. An event is similar to a conference that you go to, right? We all go to conferences for the annual CME that we need to meet. Well, an event is like a conference, but you are the organizer. You are the one that is setting it up. And there are ways to set it up that literally you can make probably a whole year's worth of revenue in a weekend. Honestly, the best marketer in the world, Alex Hormozy, held an event to launch his book, which I have back there. And in one day, he sold $100 million, $100 million of his book. But of course, there's other strategies as well. But that's the example I give out the powerful of holding an event at this time.
Yeah, so I love live events, and there we can go over different types of live events. One of the first forays into my online business was doing a offline or a live event where I charged admission. I had content, and I've been following your series. We've been talking about how to utilize content in various forms. So we've talked about memberships, we've talked about having your own book, we've talked about different courses. But one of the funnest ways, although albeit it's the one that you have to plan quite a bit, is doing your own live event. And we're going to be sharing you some of the strategies that we've been using. So what type of live events have you had, Ann?
Well, as a live event, I have not done a big live event, but I've done event in my office where it's focused on like a workshop for sexual health where I don't charge an entry, but what I do is I get leads for my office. But that segue into I'm gonna do a plug for our Doctor Fest event, which is going to be a big event that Mike and I are going to be holding in Orlando, January 15th, 2026 in Orlando next year. And that is part of the PodFest event. So we call it the Doctor Fest, which is one day where we will have a conference for doctors that want to go on YouTube or start a podcast, or doctors that's already doing YouTube or podcast that we're gonna be that wants to up level, that wants to connect, that wants to learn. We're gonna have the best marketers there. We're gonna have the best sponsors, and I already got somebody to cover lunch and dinner for us. And we're gonna hold a great event for you all to really cater to how you can leverage your medical expertise to monetize online. And that I'm gonna make sure that you're gonna walk out of there with strategies that you can monetize at least 3x your revenue online. Anyway, that's January 15th. Check the link right here. We have a link for you to start signing up for that at this point, and we hope to see you there. So that's going to be the first live event that we're holding together. But this is kind of more like a mix of marketing. It's not so much medical event. I know, Mike, you've held several events with Peter in the last few years, and this is more in your area expertise.
Yeah, I've done my own live events. I first started by I actually worked for a company called Learning Annex. It's not around anymore. Well, we would used to do classes at a local community. I think I would charge very, very minimal fee. And then I ended up doing my own events where I would rent a room at a hotel, and then I would have a 2 day, anywhere from a 3 hour to like a 2 or 3 day event. I worked with others where I've had some bigger events where we would have, instead of just my one speaker, I would have other speakers come in, and then based upon that, we would have 100 plus people come in. We go to the hotel, spend money on lunch and dinner, which can get really expensive. And then I've had events even overseas. I worked with other companies where we worked overseas and had events where we had 400, 500 people. It was really crazy. And there's a lot to going in an event, but you could start out small. You can just start out small by doing, as Ann said, doing an event if you're in your own office, and then expanding from there. It doesn't have to cost a lot. But here's the thing on it. There's so many ways that you can start using that event. So first off, how do you make money? Well, first off is by just the sale of the event. I've had events that are like $50 to $5,000 on in there. So you can make a flat fee for just people attending the event. You can have tiered pricing where you have like a general admission, and then you can have VIP. So the VIP, maybe they get preferred
Mm.
seating or Q&A access. You can spur sales by having early bird and group discounts on in there. You can make money by partnering and getting sponsorships, is what Ann was doing. So with a lot of medical conferences, there's a lot of sponsors with medical device companies and pharmaceutical companies. You can make money by having booths on there. So people will pay to get in front of their audience, and maybe you have exhibitor booths or sponsored lunches or dinners or branding swag bags. And then finally, you can make money by people selling your own products and services. So oftentimes, one of the best ways to do like high ticket items is by having people who are your most dedicated people. These are people who took time out of their own busy schedule. They got in a car or on a plane mostly, and they spent money on the hotel, and they already know you, like, and trust you. And then that's where you can sell higher ticket items. It could be a mastermind retreat or premier coaching program for this. And of course, you can sell your own discounts. Maybe you have in the medical field, maybe you have discounts on wellness packages and such. So there's a lot of ways that you can generate revenue from this.
Yeah, I wanted to insert one of the main thing about the event is it's the back end sales. And sometimes you could take a loss with the ticket sales in the front. You don't necessarily make money from the ticket sales, is the stuff that you promote at the event, like what Mike said, books and supplement, but other things as in coaching as well, like mastermind event. Because people are there for a common purpose. And then once they learn something, you deliver value, and then you will then say you want to work deeper on this and really have implementation and accountability that will naturally lead to a mastermind or intensive coaching. And that is what's gonna make the money on the back end. Now, if you are a physician and let's say you do weight loss, then you can have an event on how to lose weight without dieting or exercise or being miserable. And then from there, you can have it like very minimal amount. Like, don't make it free, because when you charge a minimal amount, people pay attention. Even if it's mean like $10 or $20 ticket. And then when they get there, you can then deliver value, deliver content, and then segue that into either your membership or your group coaching program. So that's a very good way to make money in a compressed time. It can be a 1 day, it could be a 4 hour, it could be 1 hour, it could be multiple days. At our event, the Dr. Fast event is going to be 1 day, but it's part of the bigger event. And I'm excited about it because not only you go there and meet medical professional, but we're also going to meet other people that are making money online that are not in the medical field. Oftentimes, I tell you, I learned the most about monetization and online marketing through networking and going to event. And those are the people that really connect me to the people that connect me to the people that I need to up level my YouTube channel and or my business. So just know that event is there to set up, and almost an event is almost like a funnel. I think of an event like a funnel. You start wide and then it goes narrow down to selling your high ticket at the event. And one of the thing about event is that it can also create a leads like email. When people sign up, you get emails. So it grows your email list. And that I'm a big proponent of affiliate, meaning you join with another organizer of event. They promote your event so that way you get email lists, and you will say, hey, next time you have an event, I'll promote your event. So that way you exchange email lists and share and collaborate to grow your email list. That's something that you can position yourself to fill your event, but also create a win-win situation with another conference organizer. So if you're going to do weight loss, maybe partner up with like a supplement company that does weight loss. So you can kind of complement each other. You wouldn't want to partner with somebody that is a competitor or does the same thing you are as well. But Mike and I both know that when we go to marketing conferences, big marketers also invite big marketers to their conference, but they're allowed to pitch their product. So they're almost like sharing audiences as well too. So it's a good way to kind of like have an intensive effort where you're done after one day and you can really collect a significant amount of revenue. And the cost can be either like $97 to $297 or even $20. I forgot I did hold an event prior to COVID 17 and 18. It was a women entrepreneurship event that I did. And we had actually 300 people and we sold $20 tickets. $20 ticket, 300 people was at the country club where I'm a member of. And if I'm a member of the country, I didn't have to pay for the room. The room can take 300 people. So I didn't have to pay for the room. And then I had sponsors, I had speakers. I didn't have to pay for anything for the room. And the sponsor gave me the money to hold the event. And the speaker didn't charge me anything because they were women entrepreneurs in the community. And I used the $20 that I have to pay for lunch. So you can either think of it as delivering value or not. And I came out of it neutral. I didn't lose any, I didn't make any, but that was my whole goal was to promote entrepreneurship. So I forgot about that, Mike. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did do that in the past as well too.
Yeah, that was quite a bit to get there at 300 people. That's really good. And oftentimes you hear that it's like an event. For most often, when you charge that low, you're gonna break even or sometimes lose money. But you have to position it that it's kind of like the front end of the funnel too, because these will be the people who come to your event are going to be your most avid fans on in there. So oftentimes you have to do something on the back end to have something even again a higher ticket item, whether it be another retreat, a consulting, maybe a series of events over the year. But so that's one way that you can generate even more revenue. Second way is to repurpose the content. So there are some ways that we can do it. For those people who can't attend the event, you might offer like a live streaming. There's a lot that goes beyond accurate. It's definitely not for beginners. It's someone who's gone through it and had some issues with live streaming, but it is one way that you can even sell more tickets. What I like to do is have the event recorded. So anytime you do an event, get your camera there. And we would often have camera people. Here's a little hot tip too, is you want to find something if you're going to like a city, is you can find a camera people who can record the event. And a great way of finding something that's relatively inexpensive are like wedding photographers or wedding videographers, because they're not always having a wedding and they're used to recording. They already have the camera on there. And then we would just hire them in the weekend and then find it. And then they would then give us the footage and we would have our team then take that footage and create an own online course. So now you've got like evergreen training if that format focuses on creating a course on there. And then you've got clips that you can use. We always hear from some of our clients that I have trouble creating more content. Well, you have a weekend, you're going to have hours and hours on content that you could use for clips, for reels, for video podcasting, for blogging that help grow brand and attract even future clients on there as well. So lots of ways that you can monetize that event. So let's talk about next about different types of structures of events. So you have one day events versus multi-day events. The first thing you want to start out, again, I started out in very, very humble beginning. The first event I had were like 2 or 3 hours. We had like a local event. And we had one where we just rented a hotel room. Another kind of hot tip that I use, I like doing university settings on in there. There's a lot of universities that have empty space. They already have all the AV equipment there already. So you can rent a room very, very inexpensively. And especially if you're catering to an audience like physicians who enjoy like the educational aspect to it, is I have it at a local university on there. That can be much more cheaper than renting an expensive hotel, if that's what fits your audience. Everything is a bit different. So you can do a 3 hour, 2 to 3 hour, maybe a full day event, and then focusing on monetizing that. So you're going to focus on selling tickets to the event. You might use that as a chance to introduce a coaching program or different packages. But it's a good way to get started is just doing a one day event. It's good for first timers. You want to talk about either your experience hosting one or even attending some of these?
Yeah, so it's funny now that you talk about it, I'm like, oh, I love holding event. Now that it brings back the memories when I was doing it. So doing event really kind of bring you up as the authority and the expert, really in the community, as well as like Mike said, you can record it and take pictures and put it on your social media on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. And it's not the ticket sales, it's really more in creating your brand, elevating yourself as the authority and expertise, and then use those pictures and videos, put it on your website as well. And also use that as like a PR sheet. That if you're going to be on a podcast, you can say that you held an event on weight loss or hormone optimization or anti-aging. And it's actually something that you can just do. It's a low barrier to entry, right? You can set it up like Mike and I did, where you don't have to pay a lot for to use the room. And you can get a sponsor. And sometimes we need to just get like provide water and coffee and snacks that you can get at like Dunkin' Donuts. Probably not the most healthiest snack. You don't have to pay for lunch or dinner. I like to do that. I like to make the event like stellar experience. I like to deliver the experience. That's why our event next January will have lunch and dinner sponsors as well. So it's a good thing for first timers. So if you are like starting your business, I've been talking to docs that want to start like telemedicine and want to start weight loss or addiction medicine. It's a good way to kind of hold an event in your town that doesn't not gonna break the bank. You can probably do it under $500 or less, and you can even make money if you want to. But you're gonna come out with a lot of positive, with a lot of media asset that you can use later on. Like Mike, I love that idea about getting a wedding photographer. That is something that we'll probably need to look at when we're doing our event in January. Not to mention that when you have an event, I love in-person connection and networking. And some of my best business deals come from in-person event and just sitting next to somebody and just introducing yourself, starting conversation. And also you can definitely make money if you how to do the sponsorship and price the tickets and the vendor booth. What it's also do is that it will create collaboration that you wouldn't have otherwise. You didn't have an event. Like if you want to bring up like a big speaker or like somebody well known in your field that normally wouldn't pay attention to you, that you have seen them talk multiple times. But if you hold an event and you ask them to come, and if they know that they have an audience to talk to, they'll be more willing to do the event and maybe look at you in a different light. And I have used event before to leverage my connections with influencers, other marketers. In fact, our mutual coach, Perry Belcher, has agreed to be at our podcast event. Did I tell you
Oh,
that, Mike?
no.
Yeah, yeah. I texted him and asked him, and within 5 minutes, he said yes. I'm really excited about that. And listen, come to this event because I have an organizer that's helping us do this. It's gonna be the first event for online monetization for doctors for YouTube and podcasts. So I'm having a team that's gonna help us organize it. So Mike and I can just be there and be present for you guys and make sure that you all have a good experience as well. So Mike mentioned the in-person and the live stream. You can combine it with a retreat experience. I know a lot of women coaches or entrepreneurs have done like women retreat together. You can do that. You can even do hold an event for certification as well, where you do a teaching and then have a test and then a whole certification and like we mentioned about back end of subscription or teaching. So anything else we want to mention about the benefit of that? The more I talk about, I'm like, oh my God, we need to be holding more event, Mike.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. I'll give you guys, especially when you do a 1 day event. Some people say you just do a hotel. Again, it could get really expensive. There's a website called Pure Space. That's PERSPACE.com. And it basically is a search on like different types of venues that you can use for them, like as I mentioned, like universities. But there's a lot of commercial properties that are out there that basically these rooms are really empty. Universities, they're not using it on the weekends for the most part on in there. And it's a great way of getting your feet wet. And you want to do a 1 day event, probably for people who are like local for the most part. But when you want to do like a multi-day event, if you're going to do it with retreat, that's when you have to start thinking about like hotels, or at least having the event close to it. So people are going to be flying in. They just want to make sure that you get convenience on in there too. So these are the multi-day event. There's a lot more going on to it. You need to think about that. But there's so many different ways that you can monetize on it. You can have like a retreat experience, like through maybe you're going to do a wellness, so you can have a spa or maybe hiking or something like that. You may also want to consider doing CME if you're doing focusing on physicians. A lot of times people have this CME money that they're not using at the end of the year. That might be another way of enticing them to come out on in their realm. There's so many things. I think we're just kind of scratching the surface monetization. But yeah, Anne, I think I see your wheels turning here. The benefit of doing an event.
Oh, yeah. And I'm a people person. I get my energy from connection. So I wanted to ask you this. Can you do this by yourself to start out with? I know when I did it, I used my office staff to help me at the event. So can you do this by yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I did it pretty much by myself. I had like one assistant just to help me with some of the customer support on in there. And it started with just renting out a room at a local university. And I did a 2-day event there. I was the only speaker, and it was very inexpensive. And the thing is, I used that not necessarily of the money from the event itself, but I used that to create my course. So I basically said wanted to get a weekend where I could get all my information on this particular topic. And I taught them everything I needed, everything I knew about this particular topic over the next 2 days. And we sold tickets. I forgot how much it was. I think it was like $1,000 a head or something.
What was the topic?
I can't even remember. It had something to do with internet business or such. And I sent it to a general audience on in there. And it started out because I had a list. And I just basically put out an email, would you guys be interested if I did an event here in San Diego? And we had 20 or 30 people who said yes, raise their hand, said yes, okay. And that's a great thing to it is they already had said they wanted to do it. And I think I even sold the tickets even before I had the days reserved. I had like a general idea, but I didn't have the event exactly located. And then we just found a place, and then we got it done, got my wedding photographer to record it, and then I sold it to him. And again, it didn't have to be, this is the days before AI or anything like that. I just wrote it up, had a PowerPoint, and just talked. And I got to meet people. And I think I ended up having them as my clients, then became some long-term clients as well. So they're fun. They can be exhausting, especially when you're doing it for 2 days. I remember I spoke in Singapore for 4 days. That was tough there, but I do get energized, but I do need time for decompress after that.
Absolutely. Well, Mike is in San Diego, so we may want to have more event in San Diego. I was just in San Diego like maybe a month and a half ago. Love it there. So having said that, if you need help with running an event, running by some ideas, we would like to invite you to our free doctors community in a group called Doctors Online Success is in school. So the link is right here. Check it out right here, or you can go to URL doctorsonlinesuccess.com, doctors with an S, onlinesuccess.com, and join the group. Join the group now. It's free, but we will probably make it a paid community because we are doing some coaching in there as well. We did a coaching last night. That was Mike, is me. You'll be very proud of me. I cut it off at an hour and a half, but it would deliver a lot of value. One of the doctors had a YouTube channel, and she had difficulty in getting leads from her YouTube channel to her email list. So I walked through that with her and gave her some strategy on how to convert a viewer into a lead that you can talk to and nurture and eventually buy from you. So check it out at Doctors Online Success. We grateful if you can subscribe to the channel, leave comments on what topic you would like for us to talk about. We love to hear from you and get notification. This is a channel really to help doctors monetize online, and we're passionate to help you do that. Having said that, just remember, you are just not a doctor. You are a doctor boss. We'll see you next episode.
Bye-bye.